Hi all, welcome back. Only going to be a short one today. More of a PSA if you like than a video. But for those of you not keeping track, because you don't live in God's own country, we've had some horrible weather for the past, I don't know, 3-4 weeks. 40-50 mile an hour winds, fairly constant every day. And yeah, so what I thought I'd do is have a quick run through on preparing your boat for being left alone during bad weather, and we'll take a look at what I did for SJ, and now that I've come down for the first time in 3 weeks, what needs doing after it's been left for a while. And I've come down this weekend is because the forecast for next week is 60 mile an hour winds. So yeah, I thought it'd be worthwhile just coming and making sure that she was all secure. So we're going to go outside. It's a bit windy. I've got the little thing on the mic, so hopefully you don't hear too much of the wind, but what you might hear is whistling. That's obviously the wind going through the masts of all the sailboats. But let's take a quick step outside and go and have a look at how I set up the lines for this and what needs to change ready for the next week. So we'll just go for a walk, shall we? And yes, as you would expect, it is raining as well, so I am getting wet. So first up, let's have a look at how she's sitting at the moment. So we can see straight away that this fender down there sat in the water, and we've only just got the top of that fender hitting the pontoon, so that fender's slipped, and we can see from this fender up here where it's been rubbing a white line into it, look, that one has been too low as well. So we just need to raise those two fenders up. And so what I did line wise was I ran front line down to the cleat, then off the same line off the same cleat. I did like 3 cleat hitches around there just to double it up, and I used it as a spring onto the mid cleat and then the mid cleat down. And you can see it's quite slack here. That's because I'm not stopping it from going that way on the mid, I'm stopping it from going that way with the front and the rear lines. What this spring does is it stops the boat from going backwards, because when it starts to go backwards, the spring tightens up, because there's only maybe an inch of give there. So the spring tightens up and it stops the boat from going back and hitting the pontoon at the back. And again, we've just gone round like 3 times with a couple of cleat hitches on top. And then we come to the back. This fender's okay, this one hasn't slipped. And we can see that I've got a fixed line that goes there and then onto this ball of mess. And I know that this hasn't slipped at all, so this line is fine. That line doesn't need tightening up. My final line is my stern line. Now this acts as a spring to kind of stop it from going too far forwards. So we have that one and that one that stop it from going forwards and twisting over towards the thing. So if you look, that's now pulled tight and it's just acting nice. Now what was worrying me with all the wind we've been having is that I've got the line trapped in that little V, but as it turns out it must be smooth in there rather than sharp, because there's no fraying on that line at all as far as I can see. So I'm going to leave it. It's not slipped because I actually have that line tied up inside as well. So literally all I've had to do, or all I've got to do, is just readjust these 2 fenders. But yeah, so when you're tying your boat up ready for bad weather, just make sure, think about how a boat will move. So it can move that way away from the pontoon, it can move this way towards the pontoon, it can go forwards and it can go back and it can twist. So by a combination of the short lines to the front, the springs and this midline and this stern line and that other stern line, I basically stop the boat from moving anywhere. And some people like to tie the boats quite loose and let them kind of just sit where they sit, whereas I like to keep them quite tight. So you know, I do have that, so that you can see that's pulling tight there. So I do have that. So yeah, so that's all it is. But think about what weather's going to come, where the weather's coming from. So I know that the wind is coming from that way, this way, so it's blowing me onto the pontoon. So I'm less bothered about it being able to go that way than I am about making sure that I've got adequate protection here. Hence, you know, I've got the fenders out and I'm checking my fender height. If the wind was coming from my starboard side, blowing me away from the pontoon, then I would be making sure that this fender was adequate here to stop us from hitting against the metal, and that this line was tight enough that there's no way that rear end could go across. And as it turns out, this line is tight enough anyway, because when I put it on, I made sure it was tight enough. You can see it's just pulled tight there, just from that little shove. And as it's pulled tight, it never gets closer than that. So that's it really. Make sure that all your canopies are fastened down, all your fastenings are good and on. So I've already gone over all of these. Make sure that all your windows are closed. Make sure that any fenders in baskets are, secure. So I have this tied up with a couple of loops, and always just double check that the anchor's not falling out the front. Don't ask me why. But it's always a good idea to make sure your anchor's stayed where it should be. And apart from that, that's it really. So I'm going to leave you on this cold and wet day. I'm going to sort my fenders out. That's just a few little bits and pieces for you to look at if you've got a boat in bad weather, and have to make sure it's secure and that it doesn't go anywhere. As it turns out, I did not do a bad job, and it's still exactly where I left it. Nothing's come loose, nothing's frayed, just a couple of fender slips. So we'll fix that and we'll be good for the next couple of weeks. And yeah, the noise here is ridiculous if you can hear it. But what this means is that there probably won't be any actual boating content for the next couple of weeks, just because of the state of the weather. But as soon as it does improve and I can get out on the boat again, I will. We'll hopefully bring you some actually out on the water boating content for a change. But until then, take care everyone, stay safe, and I'll see you all later. Bye bye.